More than 7% of teens in juvenile detention facilities reported being sexually victimized in 2018. That's according to a report from the U.S. Department of Justice.
As Fox 12 investigators discovered, that report points to a facility right here in Oregon with especially troubling numbers. Here's Simon Gutierrez.
The Oregon Youth Authority, which runs the Oak Creek Youth Correctional Facility in Albany, admits the numbers are troubling. The agency says it's doing its best to protect young people in custody, but that doesn't mean more can't be done. According to the report put together by the DOJ's Bureau of Justice Statistics, 14% of the youth surveyed at Oak Creek Youth Correctional Facility reported being sexually victimized within the past 12 months.
I think it's something that we need to take very seriously.
Benjamin Chambers, a spokesperson for the Oregon Youth Authority, says Oak Creek, seen from the inside in these photos provided by the Youth Authority, is an all-girls facility.
And the girls that we see at the Oregon Youth Authority come to us with a high degree of sexual trauma and also sexual reactivity.
That should make it more troubling, right?
It does, absolutely.
But he says the state's own data of reported sexual abuse at the facility don't match the DOJ's.
Our data on reported allegations for the year covered by that survey do show some allegations of abuse, but the 4 that were substantiated actually were youth touching or grabbing each other over their clothes, and that behavior was addressed.
Chambers says while records show several complaints of sexual abuse in 2016, 2017, and 2018, further investigation found most of the claims were either unfounded or unsubstantiated, meaning it was either proved the assault didn't happen or it couldn't be proven that it did. Still, Chambers says the state has a zero-tolerance policy on sexual abuse and harassment.
We do quite a lot to prevent and respond to allegations of abuse in our facilities, and so this is another indication that we need to be paying attention.
Around Oregon, Oak Creek had the highest percent of reported abuse at youth detention centers, but Rogue Valley Youth Corrections Facility and St. Mary's Home for Boys also had over 10% of its surveyed youth reporting abuse, well above the national average. Chambers says the state's own data paints a different picture, but that the Youth Authority will review the federal findings and will be looking closely at ways to improve.
What, if anything, do you learn from this or take away from it?
The main thing to take away from it is simply that you can never be too vigilant. No number of incidents of abuse is acceptable, and although we do work very hard to prevent that, I think this is a call to us, a warning to us that we need to pay more attention to it.
On the heels of the DOJ report, the Youth Authority will be conducting an internal audit of its own surveys of youth in custody about youth safety, which include questions about sexual abuse. The state does point out that 2 months after the DOJ report, a federal audit found Oak Creek Youth Correctional in full compliance of the Prison Rape Elimination Act. Reporting in studio, Simon Gutierrez, Fox 12 Oregon.